We have brought a truly extraordinary stack of sources to the table for this deep dive. You sent us a mix that bridges millennia. I mean, we've got Stoic philosophy, ancient wisdom, and
All the way to modern management theory, Peter Drucker, and even the physicality of Wim Hof.
exactly,
It's a remarkable collection, and what's so fascinating is how they all point to this one singular insight. It's often really counterintuitive.
which is what? That the path to excellence, to fulfillment, isn't about chasing more.
Precisely. It's not about external rewards or constantly acquiring things.
So the mission today is to kind of unpack that. We want to show you how all these different fields, they all define a path where mastery flows from an internal standard.
Right, how you find the heroic in your everyday presence, not in some big flashy achievement down the road.
And that journey really has to start with a sort of a philosophical anchor. Ryan Holiday puts it so clearly.
Oh, that quote is perfect. No amount of acquiring or doing or experiencing will ever be enough.
Right.
That is the essential truth of modern striving, isn't it?
It is. If your goal is just to get enough stuff, enough status to finally feel complete,
That finish line will always move.
it immediately changes the entire frame.
Yeah.
If you can't accomplish happiness through just doing more,
Hmm.
then it has to be something that happens inside.
It ensues. That's the word he uses. It ensues from virtue, from gratitude, and from just stillness,
Hmm.
being present.
It's like the ultimate permission slip.
Yeah.
You don't need more to start. You have enough right now.
But, and this is key, recognizing that sufficiency isn't the end of ambition. It's the foundation for a much higher quality, more sustainable kind of effort.
Which moves us pretty seamlessly, I think, into our first big section.
Paradox.
The paradox of achieving more by exerting less.
That's
Less frantic effort.
right.
And we see this in ancient terms with Lao Tzu. Act without doing, work without effort.
Which to a lot of people just sounds like...
Mysticism, or excuse to be lazy.
Exactly. But it's actually an incredibly advanced principle.
Yeah.
For personal and organizational efficiency.
And we see that made practical, right? We go from the philosophical to the structural with Peter Drucker's concept.
Federal decentralization.
Yes. Let's define that for everyone, because it sounds like corporate jargon, but the principle is,
Mm-hmm.
it's universal.
It is. Drucker looked at these massive, complex organizations, and his advice was simple. Don't centralize control.
Break it down.
Break it down into autonomous businesses. Each unit, each manager gets maximum responsibility for their own performance, their own results, their own contribution.
And the crucial takeaway here is why that works. It's about personal effort.
When you give people that autonomy, they have to be close to the results. They direct themselves. They stop being, and this is his phrase, prisoners of their own work, effort, and skill.
Because they're not waiting around for instructions from 3 levels up.
Right. It completely flips the script. You go from management by command to management by objectives and self-control.
So the effort becomes focused, self-directed energy, not that chaotic friction of being micromanaged.
And here is the really profound insight from Drucker on this. He says the greatest strength of this whole principle is manager development.
Because you're giving them real responsibility early.
As early as possible.
Yeah.
And the organization develops, in his words, numerous people. Growth just accelerates because people are forced to use their judgment, to take ownership.
So if you apply that to your own life, a kind of federal decentralization of the self,
I like that.
you stop waiting for someone else to tell you what to do. You become the autonomous unit, which is exactly what Wim Hof talks about, right? When he focuses on just doing.
It's a perfect parallel. Hoff says that when you're just focused on the action itself, the cold, the breathing, your steps become firm. Your confidence isn't coming from some spreadsheet.
It's coming from experience.
Directly from experience. You eliminate the hesitation.
And that's the moment where fear is born, isn't it?
Yeah.
In that hesitation, it stops you from following through.
When you embrace that autonomy, you know failure is an option, but you choose not to accept it. You move forward. And over time, that's where the magnificent transition happens. Doubt and stress just fall away.
So that's what effortless action is. It's not about doing nothing.
No, it's about eliminating the friction, the internal doubt and the external interference. Which brings us right to our next section.
The measurement that matters. If we are self-directed, if we're autonomous, then who's judging our performance?
And the answer is so critical for any kind of sustained fulfillment.
It has to be you. Only you. Our sources have this great line. If you continuously compete against others, you become bitter.
But if you continuously compete against yourself, you become better.
Let's talk about that bitterness part for a second. Why does that happen?
because the goalposts are always shifting. It becomes a zero-sum game. If you tie your self-worth to someone else's promotion or their bank account,
You're just setting yourself up for frustration.
Yeah.
Always find someone who has more.
it's a futile exercise.
Right.
But internal competition, that's totally different.
Competing against yesterday's version of you, that's generative. The finish line is just constant improvement of your own character.
And that defines this internal standard of excellence, which Pascal captures beautifully.
Oh, this one is powerful.
He says the virtue of a person is measured not by his outstanding efforts,
But by his everyday behavior.
yes,
That just completely reframes the idea of heroism. We think of it as the big dramatic moment, the medal, the rescue.
the IPO.
Right, but Pascal is saying the real heroism, the real measure of your character is in the mundane, the ordinary daily choices you make when nobody's watching.
It's all about consistency. Did you keep your word? Did you do the right thing when it was hard? That daily consistency is the only thing that builds real virtue.
And that internal push, that's what helps us find our own expanded capacities.
Mm-hmm.
When we stop trying to impress other people and just focus on our own growth curve, amazing things start to happen. Abby Wambach talks about this.
That transformation that happens when you push yourself further than you think you can go, you discover new limits inside yourself.
And that's what innovation is, right? Innovators are the ones who, as Hoff says, see beyond what is currently possible.
They're competing against the status quo, sure, but really they're competing against the perceived limitations within themselves.
The Calendar of Wisdom has this incredibly bold statement on this. It just says, flat out, there is no deed in this life so impossible that you cannot do it.
And that's not some, naive optimism. It's a statement of potential. It assumes you've already committed to that internal standard, to that daily push.
And it's a call to patience, too. You have to be patient enough to get rid of all that internal clutter, the doubt, the negativity that's blocking you.
That's the work. Removing the internal resistance is what unlocks everything else.
Okay, so we've established that excellence is internal, it's fueled by autonomy, and it's measured by daily behavior. So let's shift into section 3.
Application.
Exactly. How do we translate this clarity into actual, tangible, daily purpose and service?
Well, the wisdom literature gives us a really radical challenge here. It says, your whole life should be lived as an heroic deed.
Which sounds huge. How do you make that actionable without just burning out?
By focusing on the idea of the self as an instrument.
An instrument. I like that.
You aren't the master of the universe, but you are the tool through which good work gets done. So your main job is to keep that instrument, your soul, your mind, your body, in immaculate condition.
And what does that mean, practically? Immaculate condition.
It means clarity of mind. It means emotional regulation. It means removing all that self-imposed rust, the bitterness, the distraction.
And there's that famous Indian proverb, which is like a daily audit for this.
Every morning you have to ask.
What good things am I going to do today?
And you ask it with this acute awareness that the sunset, it takes a part of your life with it. That time is irreplaceable.
That awareness is so potent, it just immediately focuses you on what really matters.
It makes those everyday actions feel momentous. Hoff says being spiritual is based on how we express ourselves. If the soul is the instrument, your daily life is the music.
But the world is complicated. It's full of tough decisions, competing priorities. How do you find clarity in all that?
The sources offer a kind of radical simplification. To get clarity, you have to separate the issue from other people.
Meaning what? Social judgment. What
Yeah.
your friends will think.
Exactly. You take the ego and the social pressure completely out of the equation, and you place the decision before your ultimate values.
So you just ask, is this right? Independent of what anyone else will say.
And most of the trivial stuff it melts away. You see that most of our frantic activity is just noise. The only things that matter are genuine service and right action.
Which leads right into Jordan's rule.
Yes. There is no real excellence in all this world which can be separated from right living.
Excellence isn't a technique you learn. It's a manifestation of your character.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, you have to deal with the external world you can't control.
Yeah.
The friction.
Rockwell Kent has that amazing line about internal sovereignty. I have learned to expect nothing of the weather than what it gives us.
That's the final act of decentralization, isn't it? Accepting that the outside world is its own autonomous system.
You don't command it. Your power is entirely in how you respond to it.
And if you want the world to change, complaining about it is useless.
Change comes from example, not opinion.
You embody the heroic ordinary. You lead by doing.
Which brings us to our final section on sustained growth. This level of internal focus, it needs a specific pace, one that avoids burnout, but also avoids stagnation.
And the mantra for this is just, it's outstanding.
I am forever forward. No hurry, no pause.
Let's break that down. No pause. That means continuous dedication.
But no hurry. No frantic, ego-driven sprints that just lead to exhaustion. It's like compound interest, but for your character.
So what's the fuel for this? What keeps you moving forward day after day for decades?
Passion. It has to be love.
There's the Lionel Messi perspective on this.
That overcoming anything is possible, if and only if you love it enough.
Love is the fuel. Not fear, not ego, just a genuine passion for the work itself.
It's a self-renewing source of energy.
And that brings us full circle, right back to where we started. This whole structure, this whole idea of internal excellence, it's built on a foundation of sufficiency and gratitude.
If you're satisfied with your own internal effort, you realize.
You have enough. You can be happy right now.
And gratitude is the signpost that you're in that state of mind. Aesop said it. Gratitude is the sign of noble souls. It's an essential practice to keep the instrument in that immaculate condition.
And we shouldn't forget the simple things that sustain this. Lady Mary Wortley Montagu reminds us,
no entertainment is so cheap as reading, nor any pleasure so lasting.
the daily habit of learning, of competing against your own ignorance.
Yeah.
That's maybe the most enduring pleasure of all.
So the ultimate synthesis of this whole deep dive from ancient philosophy to modern business is that simple, powerful directive.
Live full, die empty.
Empty of unexpressed potential, empty of bitterness, and full of the consistent daily actions that define your own personal heroism.
So these sources, taken together, they define excellence not as some external award, but as the internal process of daily self-mastery.
Fueled by gratitude and enabled by radical autonomy, it's the steady, continuous choice of right action and presence.
And as we close out, we want to leave you with one final thought to connect all this philosophy to your life right now.
We talked about that powerful Indian proverb that every sunset takes a piece of your life with it. So if true excellence is measured by your everyday behavior and you are meant to be forever moving forward without pause, the question for you is this.
What essential action are you letting hesitation or external comparison prevent you from taking today? Knowing that the cost of that delay is absolutely irreplaceable. Embrace your presence, apply the self-control you need, and begin your heroic deed now.